These millennials, these strange digital creatures from another planet, they need a narrative culture in your workplace. Do you know that almost every piece of information that comes to millennials comes in the form of narrative? Or should I say, every piece of information they actually enjoy. Music clips, YouTube clips, news stories are increasingly short narratives with a beginning, middle, and end. Films, obviously. Even social networking is about story now. In Twitter, people are giving their story out one line at a time in a stream of consciousness effect. Everything's about narrative. And so this generation is more attuned with stories than stocks. That is to say, when they come to you for a job, they're not so much asking just how much you're going to pay me. That's part of the equation. But they're also asking, how can you help me tell a better story about myself? How can you help me increase my CV, my experiences, my contacts, my experience of activism beyond the business? How can you help me tell a better story about who I am? This again is where this moral capitalism push came from among millennials. Do you know millennials look at the idealism of we boomers and see that in many cases it's turned to frustration because it wasn't married early on with a heavy dose of pragmatism. And they look at Gen X's and they see the pragmatism of Gen X and how in some cases it's led to cynicism because early on it wasn't married to some real positive optimism. And they say to themselves, we want to marry the best of both these generations. The blue skies thinking of the boomer and the grassroots activism of Gen X to tell an entirely new type of generational story. And that's why they have problems with tensions with things like what I call pension pain. In most of the world, the developed world, over 55s now are the biggest healthcare group, and guess who has to pay for that? It's not us. There's education debt. In your country, the bottom line for education, the basic fee, someone will pay for tertiary education, 20 to 30,000 rand a year, sometimes up to 90,000, depending on what they study and whether it's a private institution. That's a lot of money. Do you know in Australia today, the biggest single education debt that a student owes the government is 377,000 Australian dollars. That's a lot of money. Obviously, it wasn't a degree in economics, but that is a serious amount of money for somebody coming out of university. And in many cases, certainly in mine, we had in those days free education. So for some millennials, this is a cause of real tension. They're very challenged about economic values. They're challenged by the fact that unbridled capitalism has led us to where we are. It's not capitalism, it's unbridled, unrestricted capitalism. And you know why they feel the pain? It's not just the loss of money or the loss of opportunity, it's that it robs them of the chance to tell this different generational story. They've been raised to believe they will do something unusual, something extraordinary, something wonderful, and when they get out of university, they find out the opportunities just aren't there. And you as a leader, as a boss, you can't change their nappies, you can't be there to empathize on every level, but you can be sensitive to this. You can help them deal with some of that frustration. It's one of the reasons why millennials get so restless and bored at work. They get restless because they don't connect what they're doing with opportunity to do even more. They think it's going to break down somewhere in the middle. It's one of the reasons why they're quick to jump jobs when you've poured money into recruiting them and training them, and then after a year they're gone. So many business leaders say that. After a year, they're gone. I think one of the reasons is they're trying to tick the boxes of success as quickly as they can to learn and grab as much as they can while they can because they don't think the window's going to be open for very long.